And away we go. Pretty sure the audio is working as intended. Been a minute. Been a minute since we've done a hobby stream. But I figured it's long overdue. See, the challenge, guys, is I don't quite like doing hobby streams while painting purple dots on my Tyranids. I just don't think it's particularly enjoyable. It's too monotonous. I think the content would be bad, and I think it just demands too much of my attention compared to normal painting. The precision required to paint purple dots is deceptive. Okay, so we're painting up this spearman. Long overdue. Been sitting on this guy and this. What's painted here? Just the metallics and the weapon reps, basically. Yeah. So he should get a good glow up by the stream's end. At least that's the hope. I'm gonna lower my lights a little bit. Oh, you know what? I'll also grab the sample of how it's supposed to look. We got this lady here, which was one it's pretty much fully painted. So the armor should look something close to this by the time we're done. Which is a pretty snazzy looking soldier. What to talk about? We do have balanced data slate things. Maybe I'll wait a little while till we have a bit more chat activity to talk about balanced data slate things, or if there's particular areas of the balanced data slate we want to look at on stream, we can do that as well. That option is always on the table. I also have a brush set here from Golden Maple. It's not, look, full of transparency. Golden Maple reached out to ask me to promote product, but I told them they wanted to give me a custom link and all of that, but I told them I don't want to push any products on my streams unless I've tried them. So we'll try them live. We'll try them live. The brushes do look rather nice. We have a 1, a 0, and a double 0. So we'll put them through their paces. That part of the reason why I wanted to paint one of these guys is, even though I have Tyranids to paint, there's a face on this guy, as you can see. And I think a face is a good test case for the quality of brushes. See what I did there? Do you see? When it comes to armor colors, I believe we're looking at Hardened Carapace and blending with Dawnstone. Or some sort of lighter gray. Could go a bit brighter too. We could even use the Dark Sea Gray. Good old reliable Dark Sea Gray. But I'll just grab a whatever synthetic brush to apply the base colors. Tony the person says, "Oh, sweet." Tramari says, "Sorry, can't watch live. I got adult stuff to do." Oh, ho. Adult stuff. Here, let's tab back over and get some dark sea gray or some hardened carapace on the palette here. You know what? I'm kind of running low on the hardened carapace, and I do like the color, but I wonder if there's a Vallejo equivalent of this warm gray-brown, grayish-brown color. You know, it's like I really like it as a dark armor color, like an off-black. It's dark enough to look edgy, but still readable. Still readable. And once the armor color is down, we'll go in with the size 0 brush and start layering in some of that gray. And then we'll see. I don't know if I'll do all the armor panels, probably just do a little bit to try out the brushes, and then move on to the face, because I think that's the right order of operations here. You want to paint inside to outside, in most cases. And if we're talking of inside to outside, there's some underlayers to this guy's armor. You can see here some cloth in the joints, some fabrics. You know, something else I was thinking about with regards to these Stormcast Eternals is, and it's more of a fantasy problem broadly, but how does one distinguish squads from each other? Tactical markings and squad numbers on armor just feels a bit too modern. I don't know if there's any defined lore that specifies how that should, you know, some heraldry guidelines that would specify how one would go about that, but my sensibilities would like to differentiate units from each other. I mean, you could do something like a shoulder pad trim, I suppose. That's not ideal. No, it's not ideal at all. Lord Castellan Forge Farther Loki, welcome to the stream. Lord Castellan says the guard are going to the guard are just going to shift to executioner after the balance. Forge Father Loki says looking good, and Lord Castellan says belt color. Belt color for differentiating squads, eh? You could do the belt color. The guard are just going to shift to Executioner after the rebounds. Some sort of a Leman Russ Executioner, I would imagine. That would be the Plasma variant, right? The Plasma Execute, is that? You know, there's just so many data sheets for the Leman Russ. There's so many. Spoiled for data sheets. I just think of my sad Carnifex. With his measly one data sheet. Rendering ranged builds. Very discouraged. It's very sad. I mean, I don't feel the issue, personally, because I'm not really leaning into Carnifexes. Kind of moved away from them. But principally, you should have a DAC effects data sheet. With enhanced senses. I think that would be the minimum. And ideally, you should have weapon options that would give you the smoke keyword if you take the Spore Cyst plate. That's just my 2 cents. Now, already with just the single base code, it looks so much better. Yeah, look at this. Like, I'm painting the trim, but I can already foresee not painting inside to outside is going to muck up this border edge. You know, we'll just do the outside. We'll save the lip for a second pass. This way it creates the illusion of a model well painted. Let me know if the audio's okay, guys. Lord Castellan says yes, Plasma. Perfect. I knew it. I had a feeling. The Executioner was the Plasma. I imagine the Rogel Dorn Commander just went up 1,000 points. Is that the gist of it? I looked at Tyranids only for the points changes, because that's what I am currently using on the tabletop. And I noticed the Psychophage went up in points, but it also got some really nice quality of life buffs. I think more movement, the smoke keyword, which, let's be real, and I think I've made YouTube posts about this before, the smoke keyword basically should be on any Tyranid unit with spore stacks. I think that's fair. You can find loads of artwork of I think, well, you know what, I'm thinking of one in particular, if I'm being honest. I'm thinking of an artwork with the Swarm Lord, I think, painted in a Hive Fleet Behemoth scheme, where he's just pouring the sky with these spores and smog clouds. And I think that's adequate enough for the smoke keyword. But the Psychophage, getting it is something. It is something. A little consolation prize. And then I think what was the other perk for the Psychophage? More AP in melee if you shoot something with his flamer, which is fine. I mean, it's good, but it's not an extremely long-range weapon. Thought to be within 12, but now you move 12. it's you know what? It's good. It's a good ability. More than anything, I just like having more movement. I think it's 8 inches up to 12 now. It's awesome. Just awesome. All right, once we get this armor color down, I'll probably take our first break, our first Warhammer community break, and look at some of the news, the very exciting news, the balance updates. The detachments I want to look at are most. I'll look at Tyranids just out of interest, even though I don't care for a burrowing detachment. I think it's important. I think it's important for the Jormungandr fans, for the Jormungandr flex, but not my bag, if you know what I'm saying. But I do want to see the Chaos Space Marines, because I want to see if I can still rag on the Codex for lacking Wordbearer rules. I've been told that the new detachment's heavily focusing on Psykers, which is kind of a Wordbearer's lead, like kind of, but not really. Like Lorgar is a fairly psychic Primarch, but are the Wordbearers especially associated with Psykers and psychic powers? Not especially. Seems more to me, Games Workshop wanted to make a detachment that mirrored the Librarius Conclave. Like, oh, what do we do this time? Oh, let's just do a psychic one. We'll see if that's the case. Look, that is my very pessimistic assumption. We'll see if that holds true. I mean, you know, look at this. Already looks way better. Way better. What would you call this armor color? Like a chestnut? No, it's probably too, probably not saturated enough to be called chestnut. We'll try layering with Dawnstone first. And we'll probably use that new brush. Alright, let's take a little Warhammer community break. And I believe I can use my technology like this. Amazing! Okay, so interesting. Captain Sentos returns to celebrate more some major Warhammer milestones. Okay, yeah, interesting paint job on this guy. It's almost like he's almost like a Crimson Fist. Slowly but surely, Games Workshop will make the Crimson Fists the poster boys. Let's start with, I'll open a tab for that, and let's look at the detachments first. Dark Angels. Let's just read the detachments. There's a link. Okay, so Subterranean Assault, we'll want that, and Chaos Space Marines Cabal of Chaos. Geez, they love the word Cabal for Chaos and Sorcerers, eh? Okay, Cabal of Sorcerers. Can I enhance? That's better for you guys. Okay, Cabal of Sorcerers. Even a single Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer is a powerful champion of the Dark Gods, capable of channeling the energies of the warp into blasts of infernal flame and nightmarish curses of mutation. That's the idea. So the detachment rule is Empiric Wellspring. Each time a unit from your army makes a Dark Pact, select one of the following abilities. Your unit has that ability until the end of the phase. Each time your army makes a Dark Pact, so shooting. Yeah, in your shooting phase or fight phase, you'll gain these abilities, and those abilities are either Leaping Flame, while this unit is within 9 inches of one or more friendly Psyker models, improve the strength characteristic of ranged weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. And Monstrous Manifestation, while this unit is within 9 inches of one or more friendly Demon Prince or Demon Prince with wings, improved armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons by 1. Well, I care not for Demon Princes in my Chaos Space Marines army, so Monstrous Manifestation is a good ability, but one I care little for. Improving the strength characteristic of ranged weapons is likely meaningful. It's been so long since I've been playing Chaos Space Marines, so I can't remember the profiles offhand. But I'm sure there's meaningful breakpoints with a +1 increase in your strength. Okay, and then you have abilities, you have enhancements. Touched by the Warp. Heretic Stories model only. The Barragans, the Psyker keyword. I like that. That's cool. That opens up your toolkit. You don't have to just load up on all Psykers. All Sorcerers and Masters of Possession. Eye of Zadesh. Models in the Bears do not have Scout 6 ability. That's good. Mindblade. Psyker only. Melee weapons equipped by models in the Bears unit have the Lance ability. Okay. Wow. +1 to wound on your possessed. That's what I think of. Or on legionaries, +1 to wound and rerolling wounds. Ew, that's gross. And then if you roll with a Demon Prince nearby, then you get +1 AP. Yeah. It's pretty meaningful. Definitely can trade up. Chaos Space Marines are already great at trading up. Infernal Avatar. Let me grab this out of here. Infernal Avatar, a Demon Prince enhancement only. Improve the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer by 2, and the armor penetration characteristic by 1. That's significant. Because you just layer, you get AP2 for your Demon Princes. They're always going to be within 9 inches of themselves. Huh. Okay, so maybe I spoke too soon. It's not a copy and paste, or not a cut and paste of the Librarius Conclave. It's mechanically different. I thought it might be a case where, you have Gladius Task Force for Space Marines, and then you have Synaptic Nexus for Tyranids, and you're like, wow, somebody copied someone's homework. But structurally, they are different. Baleful Blessings. It's Epic Deed Stratagem in any phase after you have a mortal wound. Okay, so 5 up feeling pain against mortal wounds. Like an old Armor of Contempt. Soul Seekers in your shooting phase. When you shoot, you can give your weapons Ignor's cover. No rest and death. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army within 9 inches of a Psyker, Demon Prince, or Demon Prince with wings. 1 model in your unit regains up to D3 +1 lost wounds. If your unit has battle line, you can return to D3 destroyed models to your unit with the full wounds remaining instead. Wow! You have to be within range of a Psyker or a Demon Prince. I mean, you can be led by Psykers, so you can always be eligible on an anvil. Like, you can turn Possessed into more of an anvil unit this way. They're not battle line. There's no battle line benefits in this detachment right now. So yeah, I read these rules and my mind just thinks of like Word Bearer's Detachment, Word Bearer's Detachment, and it's just never, never the case. Okay, but you can put Legionnaires back. So putting back Space Marines is pretty rare. Putting back 2 wound models back into a unit with their full wounds. And it's an either or. So you're either healing units, healing models, or putting units back. So it's very flexible. That's a great stratagem. We have Unholy Haste in your charge phase. Only for infantry. And you can advance and charge. Awesome. Awesome. Like, you know what? Like, at this point, it should just be a universal stratagem for advancing and charging. I wonder how many different advancing and charge stratagems we have at this point, all with different names. It's probably like 14. Mutation's Curse. In your shooting phase, you choose a Psyker unit. And you select one visible enemy unit within 12. On a 1, it suffers 1 mortal wound, 2 to 4, D3, at 5 to 6, 2D3. Look at this! Mortal wound generation, a Psychic Blast! I like that a lot. Oh, I wish I... the things I would wish to have for a Psychic Tyranny detachment. Okay, at the start of your opponent's shooting phase... Oh, sorry, Shroud of Chaos is this last one here. It's your reactive stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase. You have a Psyker. It's used on a Psyker, Demon Prince, Psyker or Demon Prince unit. Until the end of the phase, you have a Shroud of Chaos aura. Units within 6 inches gain the stealth ability, which is pretty good. A defensive buff that you can use at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, and then, you know, if you've set things up accordingly, a whole bunch of units could benefit from stealth. Not bad. Not bad. Overall, I'd give this detachment a solid 3.5 out of 5. There you have advance and charge, you have easy mortal wound generation. Put models back, maybe even a 4 out of 5. You have mortal wound defense, you have mortal wound output. Put models back, advance and charge, ignores cover on your shooting. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good quality. Yeah, this song is a bop. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's pretty good. Alright, let's tab back over. Let's get back to what's important. Sneedfest, welcome to the stream. Sneedfest says, the fact you can make a Corn Prince a Psyker. Yeah, that's lame as fuck. You shouldn't be able to do that. If someone does that, they are obviously lame. Someone I wish to not spend time with on the tabletop, let's say. Okay. So let's try out this golden maple brush, and we'll see. We'll see how it performs, guys. We'll see. We're doing it live. It's a test. You know, straight out of the box, it has a decent point, good shape, fairly robust. It is a size 1. Usually the size 2 has that beefy body with a good point. And we'll layer up a bit, and then we'll see. We'll take a look at that Tyrannus detachment. You know, forever ago, I have an ancient video on the channel where I reimagined the Hive Fleet subfaction rules. What were they called? Adaptations? I can't even remember. The chapter tactics, effectively, for the different Hive Fleets, because they were disappointing even back in 8th edition. And I had a pretty good idea for a Jormungandr burrowing detachment, so we'll see. We'll see if this was some sort of long haul prediction. I'll claim credit for it, if that's the case. Let's add some more water. Let's add more water to the mix. And I'll try to be more conscientious of how things are framed for the stream, since we are doing a very important product review. Just gonna layer up this blend of Alien Carapace and Dawnstone on some areas, just to add some variance. Everywhere the light touches. Well, not exactly. But you want to think about where the light's going to catch. It's not quite non-metallic metal painting, but I think when you're painting non-metallic metal, you really have to hone in on the consistency of where light's going to reflect and bounce. And I don't think it's worth it unless you're painting like a Primark or something, like a centerpiece. Or maybe like a main character for a campaign. Well, what's everyone else got on the old hobby desk? Surely there are 8 concurrent viewers. I can't be the only one hobbying, am I? Share in the hobby camaraderie, everybody. Feed me your energy. Could probably... I don't know if I was thinking of giving the metal skirt a wash real quick, a gnome oil, you know? Just to help make it pop. That liquid skill. But I noticed that it looks like it might even need a second pass. Well, this is a weird song. I'm going to jump forward a bit. Not really vibing with that one. I'm gonna paint those abs. What did I do with that? How did I paint these parts? Oh, it's all armor color. Damn. Really, man, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think I did a super good job with that model. Perhaps too good, you know, I don't actually want to paint the rest of the squad to that level. So we'll just have 1-star model in the unit, and it's not going to be the sergeant, which is weird. Well, not a sergeant, a champion. Okay, then towards the edges, towards the areas of the trim where the plane shifts and breaks, we'll try and create a subtle gradient. Now once we do this, we're probably going to edge highlight, but once we get a decent layer buildup of layers, I'll probably... We can probably take a look at the Tyrion's detachment. Then we'll hop back to face painting. What fun. Maybe a good way to think of the paint breakdown for this scheme would be to use Dawnstone for building up the armor values, and then use Darksea Gray to blend for the edge highlighting of the armor. It has a significantly higher kind of cap if we were to mix it in. And by cap, I'm referring to the value of the paint. I think Darksea Gray is also the color I use for the cloth and the shield. But it looks like it's been given an earthy wash. And then layered back up. Alright, how is that reading? It's reading adequately enough anyways. So let's do the cloth. Trying to get it to look table ready by the stream's end, so I want to hit all the materials, even if they aren't well painted and highly layered. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can clean off this nozzle. So, like, you know, if you're a GW Citadel paint pot stan, you might think dropper bottles are just better. But dropper bottles can have their struggles as well. Whoops. Okay, well, look, even with the little bit of layering we did, I do think this golden maple brush isn't terrible. Seems to be performing as expected of a sable brush. Oh, now we're filling in the lines because we didn't paint inside to outside. We have some cloth in here. I guess it's a good test of the point of this brush. You know what? I think I can just remove this. Amazing. That will make things easier. And we can do the same here, right? Oh boy, technology. Look at that. I believe for the leathers I used Rhinox hide or maybe Dryad bark. We'll have to check. I want to say Dryad bark because I think Rhinox hide might just be a bit too red. We'll take a look at the sample model. And that should provide some sort of a direction, some sort of guideline. You know, this playlist is supposed to be a relaxing summertime playlist. That's not what I would call this music. Oh, didn't really paint the back of the scabbard there. Oh well. Yeah, the leathers look like a Dryad bark. Are those all the cloth sections of the body? I mean, more or less. should do for that side. And over here. What is going on in here? Honestly, I think everything's all jammed up. I don't think there are any soft cloth segments. Yeah, I think it looks all right. It does make a difference. Oh shit. Nice. I think that was correct. I thought it was a mistake, but now that yeah, it should be like this. It was right the way I did it. This will be layered back up, so it probably can be washed. Probably. This is definitely a case where I should have. I perhaps should have wrote down the recipe. But to be honest, I don't hate the discovery process. Okay, so I don't have dry yard bark, but I have this Vallejo olive brown, which I think is close. So we'll place this down for our leathers. Shouldn't need too much, honestly. And these new Vallejo paints have such an awesome matte finish, which I think will help. I think will help the overall aesthetic. Because the armor definitely has that satin finish from, at least going off of the test model I did a while ago. Though that could be caused... What is this? Stray hair? What is this? What am I looking at here? Just a rogue brusher. We just do a twist. Is it fixed? Yeah. Okay. Then it's negligible. Yeah, in any case, the semi-glossy, more satin finish of the test model could be a result of the custom wash. After I figured out that it's not quite matte. It's like it's a matte finish with areas that are partially satin, and I really like the look of it. And after I figured out that you could achieve that by mixing washes with Lamian medium, I feel I might have done the same on that test model. Oh, we do have that matte finish, as expected of the new Vallejo paints, which is pretty good. Always good when your paints operate as intended. It's honestly one of the things I don't like about working with an airbrush. I just find it gets too temperamental. It could just be skill issue. It could just be learning curve. Once you get over that, the temperamental elements are much more predictable and quantifiable, but I don't like how annoying it can be sometimes. Okay, well, you know what? I already feel like I'm enjoying working with this brush a lot. Are there any other silver areas? It's just the metal skirt, right? Belt buckle. Gotta do the belt buckle. And then after that, yeah, we'll just put the Nuln Oil on top. And then while the Nuln Oil dries, let me take a look at that Tyranids attachment. I almost forgot the boot. This is like such a subtle detail, but I appreciate it so much more. These leather boots, where the armor goes over the leather boots, as opposed to the previous Stormcast Eternals, which just had armored feet, like a Space Marine. This subtle difference, I think, goes a super long way. This makes them feel more grounded, you know, more like they're more in this world. Whereas older Stormcast kind of look, well, they look kind of funny. I think they look funny. It's a bit too Chungus. At least the male models, anyways. The female models of the previous Stormcast range, I don't think were terrible. Let's just add a little bit of gradients to these areas. I got the gradient backwards, unfortunately. We're gonna cheat a bit. I'm gonna put the light side towards this corner, and then we're just gonna have dark on dark, and then back up to light over here. kind of do the same on this side. I think I'm gonna break this spear. Holy. It's a whole bunch of close calls. Alright, let's clean the nice brush. That was a pretty good, testing of its capabilities. Right, fairly clean. Yeah, looks fresh. Okay, and let me go into the wash box. We're gonna wash those metals. Actually, I wonder if I should wash the whole thing. We'll do an experiment on the armor. That's what we're gonna do. A little bit of an experimentation. Oh, jeez. Almost knocked over a leaper. Actually, you know what? Let me show off this leaper. Here's I guess the squad leader of the second unit of leapers for Gengar. I think is looking pretty good. Still whip. Where the second guy is here, and we have what else? The third one is he needs his dots done, which is not conducive to painting streams, I don't think. I think painting armor, painting layers is much more stream friendly. That's what I think. Okay, so let's tab back over. So subterranean assault. Can we enhance? When the hive fleet's organisms descend, no place is truly safe from their wrath. As the lands swarm and writhe, and the skies are clad with winged monstrosities, other foes advance unseen below. Okay, surprise assault is the detachment rule. Each time a Tiernan model from your army makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. But why? It's just, yeah, it's just all Tiernans. I mean, it's good. More reliability is certainly great. Reroll. Remember when they said this was the edition without rerolls? Reroll a hit roll of 1. Always. And then each time a burrower, why is that so hard to say? Each time a burrower, oh my god. Each time a burrower unit from your army is set up on the battlefield, from reserves, place a circular 40mm tunnel marker anywhere on the battlefield within 1 inch of that unit and more than 3 inches horizontally away from all enemy units. In the reinforcement step of your movement phase, when you set up a unit on the battlefield from reserves, you can set that unit up wholly within 9 inches of one of your tunnel markers. And more than 6 inches horizontally away from enemy units. So you have 6-inch deep strike off of 40mm markers, which are 1 inch off of 9-inch deep strike setup burrower units. If an enemy model, excluding aircraft, ends any kind of move within 3 inches of one of your tunnel markers, that tunnel marker is removed from the battlefield. And burrower keywords are Moloch and Trigon units. In the muster army step, you can select up to 2 Trigon models from your army. The select units to gain the character keyword. Okay, well that's fun, because that opens up the Trigon Prime in all but name, right? You can have a Trigon Warlord. Well, Yeah, one of them can be selected as your warlord, and then you can have 2 with enhancements. Interesting. Yeah, so if I recall correctly, my old homebrew for Jormungandr, but better, was to just use the burrower keyworded units as your tunnel markers. And you're effectively using a transport disembark mechanic off of them. Which I think is better, personally. I think it's better than being I think it's better than a 6-inch deep strike within 1 inch of your burrower unit, which is set up 9 inches away from enemy models. I think it's just cleaner. Having tunnel markers is fine, but then why does the tunnel go away? Why does the tunnel mysteriously just go away? They fill it up. Okay, Synaptic Strategies. Our first enhancement. Tyranid model only. Once per battle, you can target the bearer's unit with a Rapid Ingress Stratagem for 0 CP. The bearer's unit with Rapid Ingress for 0 CP. And can do so even if you've already targeted a different unit with that stratagem this phase. That's really good. Tremor Senses, Tyranids only. After both players have deployed their army, select 3 friendly Tyranid units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set those units up in strategic reserves, regardless of how many units are. Oh my god. Okay, so they should have just copy-pasted Alien Cunning from the Index detachment, from the Invasion Fleet, because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it does. Pretty sure. Let me double check so I'm not spewing fake news and getting riled up for nothing. Apologies for the loud typing, folks. Okay. Looking at the Wahapadaya. Invasion Fleet, Enhancements, Alien Cunning. Select after both players have deployed. How can I demonstrate this? There it is. Oh, look at these ads. Okay. Yeah, I think it's exactly the same. When doing so, you can set up those units in strategic reserves, regardless of how many are already... Yeah, okay. Just call it Alien Cunning. Why have... It's like they want to pretend the game is narrative. The game wants to cosplay as if it's narrative, but when it's really not. Okay, Vanguard Intellect. Tyranids model with the Deep Strike ability only. The bearer's unit can be set up using the Deep Strike ability in the reinforcement step of your first, second, or third movement phase. Okay, first turn Deep Strike, super good. So look, despite my grievances, Tremor Senses / Alien Cunning is super strong. That's also first turn Deep Strike, can also be very good. And you can Rapid Ingress for free. That's also good. And Trigon Prime. Hey, look at that. They call it the Trigon Prime. It was right there. I just didn't even see it. The bearer gains the Synapse keyword. Appropriate. Improve the strength and weapon skill of the bearer's melee weapons by 1. So then your Trigon would have strength 2, plus 2, because it's a Synapse creature. And then you're rerolling hit rolls of 1, because that's just something all your units do, even though they just always reroll 1s. That's so weird to me. Like, what is this supposed to represent? If it's a surprise assault, you'd think, you know, when you set this model up in the first round, until the end of the phase, on the turn it's set up, or something like that, you'd expect some limiting factor, but no, it's just all units, reroll hit rolls of 1. It's not even limited to burrower units. Very weird. Anyways, stratagems. Oh, tunnel network. Hell yeah, that's what I used to call my detachment. Anyways, adaptive optimization is your command phase. A Moloch or Trigon unit gains the Synapse keyword. Boring. I don't care about that. Tunnel Network. End of your movement phase. One Tyranid unit from your army that's wholly within 9 inches of one of your tunnel markers. Remove your unit from the battlefield and set it up again wholly within 9 inches of another. Yeah, okay. Functionally the same. Exactly what I would want. More or less in line with my old house rules. Replenishing Swarms. 1 CP in your movement phase. One Tyrannid unit from your army wholly within 9 inches of a tunnel marker you placed. Oh, you replenish your lost wounds, or you can return D3+1 destroyed models with a wounds characteristic of 1. So minimum 2, maximum 4 Termagants coming back, or Hormagaunts, if they're within range of your tunnel markers. That's super good. Let's see, when do you set up tunnel markers again? Only when you're set up? Is set up on the battlefield. Okay. Interesting. And any Tyrannid's unit could go back. Oh, this isn't back to reserves. Tunnel Networks is just teleport. Which is funny. It's still in line. I just read what I wanted to see. Yeah, that is in line with my old house rules, because that's how they worked. But that is better. Teleporting to different tunnel points is awesome. Super cool. Super cool. Swarming Assault. In your charge phase, one Tyrannid's monster from your unit that was set up as reinforcements. This turn. Until the end of your phase, friendly Tyrannid's units within 6 inches of your unit can roll charge rolls. Okay, 1 CP2. We'll roll charges on everything near a monster. Kind of represents the old infrasonic roar from Jormungandr a little bit. Sort of a similar thematic overlap. And Enfilading Emergence. End of your movement phase. One Tyrannid unit from your army that was set up as reinforcements this turn until the end of your next fight phase. Weapons equipped by models in your unit have sustained hits 1 and ignores cover. So you load it up, you spend your CP at the end of your movement phase, and until the fight phase. So your shooting attacks and your melee attacks will have sustained hits 1. For 1 CP. That's a quality stratagem. And ignores cover for the ranged attacks. Quality stratagem. 1 CP sustained hits 1. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little envious of that. That's a good stratagem to have. And then you have a reactive stratagem, Retreat Below. This is probably Return to Reserves, which is what I thought Tunnel Networks was. End of your opponent's fight phase. 1 Tyrannid's unit or 2 Burrower units that are not within engagement range go back into strategic reserves. Awesome. So the end of the opponent's fight phase, your Burrowers can go back down. It doesn't matter where they are. And then come back up and set up more tunnel markers, which is good. So here we have a Tyrannid's toolkit that will actually give them a very alien feel on the tabletop. So I do rate it highly for that. It scores super high on theme. Super high on theme. Yeah, because you could feasibly have tunnel markers all over the place. That's super cool. And have 1 CP just to teleport units around between them. Yeah, remove your unit from the battlefield and set it up again wholly within 9 inches of another tunnel marker you placed, and more than 6 inches away from all enemy units. Yeah, you can still charge after that. Yeah, this is a spooky alien detachment. Better than most of the Tyrannid detachments in that regard. Oh, yeah, I'm not really a Jormungandr guy, but I think this is a big win. Much, much better than that stupid warrior bioform onslaught detachment. The Grotness one, anyways, which was just waste of a detachment. All right, that's pretty cool. There's some good sauce in there. Let's go back to painting. So, skin tones. What do I want to do for skin tones? I do have that Vallejo skin tone set. Maybe we can use that. Sort of a reliable recipe. And it yields a pretty cool grimdark effect, I think. I think it's these 4 paints, and yeah, it's used in an order something like this. Base color, then you have your layers, shadows, and highlights. And you know how I do. I like to kind of blend in between. Let them mingle. Let the pigments mingle. We'll start with the 00. Or no, we'll start with the 1 and probably go to the 0. I think that's probably enough. I think you only need a 00 when you're doing like eyes. And maybe even then it's not necessary. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's water this down a little bit. It's already got some paint here. Oh man, I'm a bogus goof. I did not even do the wash I wanted to do. Just got distracted. How embarrassing. Okay, we'll let that... Oh, might have watered that down too much. Okay, we'll apply a heavy, well, not heavy, but a generous amount of Nuln Oil to the skirt. Yeah, this sort of scale mail, I think that's what it's called, a scale mail skirt, is excellent choice to add some material variety. So be willing to layer them back up a little bit at some point. When I do that, I'll quickly pick out the belt buckle. Getting that paint to dry a little bit, so I'll move the excess around. I begin wet blending, I guess. That's where we're at these days, wet blending faces. So what do we want to do here? We want to pick out the areas which would catch light, the cheekbones. You see, look, this is why you should paint inside to out. Because we're definitely going to nick our armor. I can feel it. This guy seems to have a lot of facial hair, so actually that might free up the amount of work we have to do. We got a bit of an ear there, but the ear can probably just blend right to our darker color. Ears, I think, are more red. More warm, right? When it comes to the way your skin would pigment either warmer or cooler in different areas. I think it ears skew more red. Warmer tones. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to remove this. Why not, right? What time are we at? Okay, we got enough time for this, I think. It should do. And we'll get our darker color. Vallejo's Purple Shadow. And what we want to do is darken the eyes, nose, and any other area we want to just add more depth to at the hollows of the cheeks. Maybe at our hairline too. And we'll put some dark areas in that crease between the eye and the nose that leads to the mouth. It's definitely something like you gotta massage it a bit to get it going right. Well, that could just be a skill issue, though. Look at that point, though. Look at that brush point. Not bad. Not bad. I wonder if we can start building up the eyes already. Don't need... I think you can get away with using the skin tones a little bit. The brighter values of our skin tones, I mean. I think once all the other paints are in place, it should read. It should read. Like, already I'm liking how it's looking. Already. Clean that up a bit. Let's come back in with our, what color is this? Pale flesh? Yeah, come back in with our pale flesh. And might have a bit too much on our brush. Let's try and bump up those values. Not everywhere, just in those key areas. And we'll blend this in. Is his mouth open? Oh yeah. Okay. We'll take that into account. What kind of hair color do you guys think we should give him? I'm thinking like a light brown. You know what? We can probably use that purple to add some wrinkles to his forehead. To give it more of that definition. Like a nice crease in between the brows. I think that will help. And you could block him in a little bit more too. To give him that Super Saiyan 3 eyebrow, if you know the reference. You get it. Those pronounced brows. Powerful brows. Oh yeah. I feel like most of that was off camera. Amazing! Well look, consider it a before and after. Before and after. Okay, we should, I think, get some more purple on his nose. I do think that's the right call. I'm going to use some more of that pale flesh to define the nostrils a little bit. I don't know if I love it. We'll see. Can use more purple for the inside of the mouth. Might have overdid it. Let's just pull some of that out. And maybe we can use some of our pale flesh color just to do some creases to suggest the lip line. Well, there's the armor collar getting nicked. I told you it would happen. So we could use some red contrast, maybe dilute it a little bit to make the mouth redder, but I don't know if it's necessary. I kind of like this drabber sort of color palette. Now let's get our full purple shadow and try and go back into those eyes. I'm gonna try out the, whoops, jeez, disaster. I'm gonna try out the, what size is this? The size 0. size 0. Yeah, I suppose the point is finer. Let's moisten the bristles a bit. Give it a twist. Honestly, when the sable brush is new, like, this point is already accurate enough for faces, I think. But perhaps it just won't hold as long. Maybe that'll wear it out more. We'll see. Okay, so with the size 0, I'm going to try and go in with the purple shadow and line out those eyes a little bit more. You know, I wonder if this is already adequate. Like, once we put the hair in, maybe it'll just read. I'll just paint some lines across. Hopefully, they read like wrinkles. Got a big old water bubble on my palette that just is now bleeding into my paint. Ugh, it's a waste. I can just wait for it to evaporate, but it's annoying. Hey, he's got a big old mustache. Oh, like, could you make him like gray? Graybeard kind of guy. Okay, let's get some white. Maybe some Screaming Skull. And Pallid Witch Flesh is certainly more neutral than this white flesh. So maybe we'll use some of that. Jesus, nearly dead. This one is block in the eyes, and then go in there with like a pale green or something. Paint actually might be done. Oh no, we're okay. There's a spot. There's a spot where it lives. Okay. I want to be wary with the white paints though, because they tend to chalk up, and I imagine it's a good way to mungle your brushes. Okay, so how does that look from far away? He looks all right in know, he doesn't have any. It's all whites. He needs some pupils for sure. We fix up the shape a little bit. I'm actually going to cheat a little bit, use some of our armor color to darken down the purple shadow, neutralize it a little bit, and see if we can use that to add some further definition. I think that looks better. I think that's looking pretty good. So we'll grab a blue or light green. Maybe something like our Scale 75 forest green. I mean, I'll use a little bit of it and mix it in with our skin color. That's how it will become a light green. Look, other problem with dropper bottles. We have a blockage. How annoying. Got a paper clip somewhere. You know what? It's too much of a mess. We're not going to deal with that right now. We'll just use this color, Irati green. It's a bit too saturated. It's something close to maybe a moot green. So we're going to still have to mix it with our pale flesh. Yeah, something like this is perfect. We'll use the base color to just block in where the pupil's gonna go, I'm thinking, and then hopefully highlight the pupil with that blended version. And it should result in what I'm hoping will be nice limbo rings. We'll see. We'll see how the experiment goes. You know what? There's this guide hair on this brush, and I think it's gonna ruin my capacity to paint these eyes. You'll notice the this is the size 1 brush, doesn't have that guide hair. How about the 00? Alright, here's the 00. Come on, focus for me. Yeah, similarly, no guide hair. But the size 0 does? What is that about? Yeah, it's not a... It's not a stray strand or anything. It's just part of it. Okay, we'll try out, you know what? We'll try out the 00. Maybe that's what it's for. Maybe the 00 is for eyes. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. You gotta be brave though, right? Painting is all about being brave. You have to court the edge of disaster. What is that? Is that another guide hair? Am I going crazy? Kitbash Carnage. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Are you following the Warhammer community balance updates, Kitbash? Okay, let's try it out. Okay, I think we can work with this. Clean it up a little bit. Clean up this edge, and we should be okay. He's got some real big, wide pupils, though. I'll tell you what. Oh, that side's too. Same problem. But not a bad block-in, though. I think we can fix them after. Go back in with our Pallid Witch Flesh and kind of add back in, fix that shape. Definitely got to give this guy some eyebrows though. I mean, when we do the Pallid Witch Flesh, you could consider giving him some reflections. That might be a bit too much, though. I think that's adequate. I wonder if I can add more pale flesh just to get a paler, an even paler green. It's looking like, yeah, there's a guide here. You can see it against his armor here. I don't like that. I don't like that. Kitbash says, kinda. Vashnor and Lord Discordant were interesting, but I'm chaos. Oh, a win's a win. Take it where you can get it, man. Yeah, I was very pleased with the Lord Discordant. A bit late for me. I mean, I'm kind of, I gave the Word Bearers a run when the Codex came out, and now I'm just kind of moved on to other projects. It's like, Let's clean that up a little bit. Why isn't the paint applying? This is weird music. Jeez. Yeah, give me that Mario Sunshine. I want to take a bit of that watered down purple shadow, mix it with our Irati green, which gives a very dark green. And I'm gonna try and do some pupil painting. We'll see. A true test of the 00 brush. No, we're just painting the whole eye, which I don't love. I might be reaching a bit too much. Okay, let's fix that and okay, and then I'm just going to try and add a bit of white to the inside of the eye. I think that'll help the readability. Oh, overdid it. Overdid it. Terrible. Kitbash says, same. The game moves in crazy directions. Right. I have to pop off. Of things in the works. Later's all. Have an amazing rest of life. Thank you, Kitbash. You take care. Yeah, now he's starting to look bug-eyed. Like the classic Warhammer bug-eyed look. Which I don't want. Definitely don't want him to look bug-eyed. bug eye. Because you gotta look cool. Oh, maybe we should use the old trick. If you want someone to look cooler, you make him look more angry. So maybe we'll just tighten up the angle here on the eyes, on the upper eyes. Enhance those creases. I have to brighten up his nose a little bit though. Okay, we're gonna shift back. We're gonna stop working on the face. I think we're getting too dialed in. I think we gotta zoom out and work on the other areas. And I think everything will come together. Because that's how it works. So, for the hair color, maybe we'll do Steel Legion and maybe mix in some Dawnstone just to dial it down a little bit. And then we can use some of that Pallid Witch Flesh or our Pale Flesh for the highlights. I like how it sounds. Well, we'll see how it pans out. Get some Dawnstone. So kind of like a khaki. Or like a Karak stone, I guess. If we were to speak in GW terms. Okay, so for our hair, we'll just follow the direction of the way the hair is flowing. That's sort of the trick to painting hair. You don't get too much of an opportunity to paint hair in 40K, especially if you're painting Space Marines. You don't paint. If you always go with the helmeted heads, you don't. It's kind of a rare material to paint, but I sort of cracked the hair code, I think, and I think it's very well served by painting in the direction of the flow. And you can do your highlights, and everything just sort of jives. So what do we have here? He's got this his hair tied up into a little ponytail, and then everything else flows downward. actually wouldn't hurt to give this a little bit of Nuln Oil too, because there are model details, and that shade could serve as a bit of guiding for the highlights, because it should map out the lowlights correctly. And perhaps if I'm going to commit to painting faces like this, I should keep them off of their bodies. That probably smart. But sometimes it helps to have the head on there, right? Because then you can evaluate how it looks against the backdrop of the model. Make sure it fits. Okay, let's give this a little bit of Nuln Oil. What time are we at? Piling up on the 2-hour mark. Yikes. Well, I think painting a face and getting the base colors down will, at the very least, create an adequate, we'll say an adequate before and after for our thumbnail. So that's the consolation prize. I could do a brown also. Might be good to add more brown, because we're only going to add more gray with the highlights. So let's try and get some saturation back in there. Sorry, I realize I'm speaking away from the mic. I'm gonna try some Seraphim Sepia. We'll see. We'll see if this is, well, we're gonna commit to it, so. If it's bad, it's bad. Yeah, another reason to paint inside to outside. So we can get this wash all over our armor. I mean, I'd rather get it over the armor than over our skin. So it's kind of where we're at. It's kind of got that Boromir haircut. Okay, we'll give that a few minutes to settle. And in the meantime, I'll just apply some more of that armor color to this trinket. Some sort of trinket. Actually, we can try building a custom wash, since we are sort of just chilling here while our Seraphim Sepia dries. So we'll mix some Nuln Oil, Lambing Medium, and I'm thinking Agrax. A little bit of, well, just apply this to the armor color. So do one part of each wash, and then maybe 3 parts Lambing Medium. It's not an exact science. I should mix up a batch. Maybe I'll do that at another point, because I do have custom batches for the Gengar wash and the Word Bearers. Hopefully that's enough for all the armor. Bit of an experiment. We'll see where it leaves us. I mean, it shouldn't hurt. Washes tend to just define. Back plate, yeah, the hair's looking more or less where I want it. Yeah, we'll do the shield, and then I'll have one more arm to do. I think I might have mixed the exact portion I need. Amazing. That is a hobby win. I'm actually going to pull this everywhere, because then this is going to get layered back up. And having that wash pool around the raised elements will help. Okay, and our last arm. That should do. Misfit, welcome to the stream. How's it going? Gonna be doing the hobby hang streams more regularly. It'll return as a channel staple. The Tyranid arc is almost over, and so hobby streams can return. Okay, so we're going to take that, what we have left of the Karak Stone blend, and mix it with our that same pale flesh, just to get a little bit of a layer color. We'll start building that hair highlight color. So I'm thinking we want highlights just around along the crown. That's what I'm thinking. There's something just following the direction of the hair's flow and creating a kind of zigzaggy broken pattern. Let me move this out of the way. Alright, so it's a good first pass. We gotta bump that up though. Probably have to use some Pallid Witch Flesh. And I think that is the right direction. You know, this medium gradient is actually probably a pretty good way to test the waters when planning your hair highlights. You don't want to start, if you're unsure, if you're not quite feeling brave, you could test the water by just using an intermediary color. How are things with you, Misfit? Are you excited with the Warhammer balance updates? I'm about as excited as I can be, which is moderate. I am moderately excited the Psychophage is better. It was kind of a staple for the sort of list I'm using, so I don't mind if they're doing a bit more mobile. Okay, so with the Pallid Witch Flesh mixed in, I'm going to try and do another pass on this hair, and hopefully we get that nice, strong, anime-esque highlight. We gotta be fine with the brush strokes. Oh god. That's a thick one. Yeah, it's way too thick. I mean, I don't hate it, but some areas are a bit too thick. Let's try and tighten that up. Just add some flex at the start of the hairline. I think that'll help that transition read a bit better. And I'll probably save the hair tie for later, make that blue. That's probably what I'm going to do. This guy's going to be part of Blue Squad. And this is going to, I guess, yeah, I think break that up a little bit. Gotta break that up a little bit. Misfit says, went for a nap earlier, turned into a 5-hour sleep. I should have set an alarm. The dreaded afternoon to evening nap. Yeah, it can be a trap, right? Definitely be a trap. Do you have one of those couches that you just sit down on and you just sit down and think, oh, I'm just gonna sit down on this couch for a minute, just gonna recline a little bit, and then it turns into like, oh wow, it's evening. All of a sudden you wake up and the day's over. Yep, I'm into the look. And the wash is operating as intended for the armor. Needs some highlighting, some edge highlighting. But the areas where it's pooling, it should not be a problem. I'm not going to touch it. I think it should add a satin finish in those areas. And if I touch the wash while it's drying, it probably will muck it up. So let's add some more flex on his facial hair here. Very important. Very important to paint your mustache. Oh my god. I think that's actually okay. I think we got away with it. How do I get the hair here? Good test of the brush though, gotta say. Misfit says, got done the other day kit bashing Araman into a different Warband's Chaos Lord. In the Manufactorum. Okay, I'll check the old Discord and we'll give it a look. Let's see here. Share that hobby motivation. Oh yeah, look at that. Creepy. All the extra arms? There's one extra arm, right? Am I able to show this to chat? Am I able to put this to stream? That won't do. This should work. Oh, I need to... Yeah, look at this guy. What a creep. Solid conversion. Solid conversion. Cult of Mutation. Oh, that's perfect. Misfit says I was feeling a bit off, so I went to bed. I do feel better now, though. Okay, gotcha. Well, you know what? Then the nap was worth it. The good old factory reset. Okay, so definitely into overtime, but I guess it's overdue because I haven't streamed in so long, so we'll continue plucking away. I'm kind of jiving with the way this guy's looking. So we'll continue a bit longer. We'll continue for a bit longer. I can't believe I missed this belt leather. Maybe it's because the spear arm was still attached. Oh, you know what I said we would do? I said we'd give them some eyebrows. So that's what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna use the armor color. I think it's important. He can't actually be a Super Saiyan 3. So we're just gonna draw. I don't mind if they're bushy. He is a strong man, so he can give those bushy brow strong man looks. Where are we? Should be able to water down our purple shadow skin color a little bit, and then maybe trace the hairline, just to kind of help break it up a little bit to create a harder distinction. I don't hate that. Alright, I'd say it's looking pretty cool. Misfit says, with a different head, the hood really stands out. On the R-Man conversion, indeed. Yeah, normally R-Man's giant helmet obscures that hood. But now you have that kind kind of like a Sorcerer Supreme sort of collar, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, the extra hand on the Sorcerer is great for Cult of Mutation Specialist. Oh, we have one error to clean up here. The back of this, I don't know what to call it. It's like a surcoat. The bottom of his shirt. The bottom of his torso armor at the back here is a bit too silver. Oh no, I've ruined the weapon handle. I've ruined it. Can we erase it? Yeah, I think we've managed to salvage it. Alright, not bad. Yeah, so what remains on this guy? The white areas, the blue gemstones, and the blade. The blade itself. I'll probably tack that on now the head's done. Knock on wood. Yeah, there's the guy. He's looking pretty good. I think he's looking better than when we started. I'll take solace in that. And there's the money shot. It's like, you there, stop. Halt. Alright guys, well, I think we're going to wrap up the stream here. We're kind of trickled away our viewers. So I think that's the sign. The sign to wrap up the stream. As per usual, if you made it to the end of the stream, you guys are the real hobby heroes. Thanks to everyone who joined in and shared in the hobby camaraderie. And I'll catch you guys